It's not that they can't fly, it's just that he's got afterburners and he is leaving them quivering in his turbulence. He's the Prince of the Park, the rising king of the Colosseum.
Here I am at 14 and 15 calling phantom races off the newspaper for my parents. Drove them mad, because I scream these things over dinner and they're like, where does this come from? It was just a hobby. And then all of a sudden the hobby became the vocation. I was never meant to be a race caller. I didn't know I was going to be. I was always going to be a tennis player. I was state junior champion 3 years out of my age group. And at 18, I started getting back injuries. And by 19, I was retired. I went to the races one day and I ran into Trevor Jenkins and I thought, I'll ask him, how did you become a race caller and how do I? And it was good timing again, because he said, I'm looking for an assistant. If you're any good, I'll let you know. Come up in the spare broadcast box next week and we'll see what happens. But don't expect me to be kind. And I said, okay. So up I went. 6 months later, I had my first job. That's how it started. As a commentator, I always sought to capture the soul of racing rather than the statistics so much. Try and bottle the emotions of the sport and put that out to listeners and viewers. It was 5,000 race meetings, 50,000 races and 500,000 horses. I actually sat down and tried to figure it out, and ballpark, that is pretty close. Dominating brute of a horse, but he had great character. Russell once said to me, you must never be scared of horses or any animal, but you must always be wary of them. I used to put this to the test with Steelo, and I'd go out in the paddock and play with him, and he would come charging up to me and he'd break and throw dirt all over me. And he would put his paw on my shoulder like a dog shaking hands. It nearly drove me into the ground like a picket. But, it was such a thrill to have this huge animal that could, hurt me, but chose not to. And so I became very close to him. 38 years old. And they served me right to the end. But I think if they'd gone one more week, Steve, they would have just about packed up. They've got a big crack in one lens and they've been dropped and, there's scratches on the front. I just loved those old binoculars. I took over from George Gulisic 1989 and retired December 2008. I just belonged here and I wore it. I didn't work here, I wore it like a glove and I just fit it and I love it, and it loves me. We're together forever, me and Gloucester Park. God, the amount of times I used to wax lyrical about the moon coming up over the river with the Burswood's lights and the colours of the silks of the drivers going underneath the moon. It's like it's yesterday. I miss it very, very much, but I don't regret it. It was the right time for me.